Hello everyone, my name is Alex Skelly and I am Deer Development. So without rambling too long, the most logical thing I could come up with for my first video was to give a background on myself and really explain my hunting heritage and how I grew up as an outdoorsman. And the second part to that would be what my intention is with this YouTube channel, along with my other social media being Instagram and Facebook at the moment. I am also working on a website, but this takes time and it's a lot of work getting started. So I can honestly say that I believe I had kind of a jump start on the rest of the crowd for the fact that I grew up in a pretty diehard, dedicated family of whitetail hunters. And when the first weekend of the November gun season came in Minnesota, it was like your birthday, Christmas, and Easter all wrapped up into one. You know, we were excited, ready to go. It was like the highlight of the year. And before I could even legally hunt at the age of 12 in Minnesota, you can shoot your first deer, you can actually hunt with a gun. I was in the stand before that, sitting with my dad, and I did find success at a pretty young age, especially with a gun. But before that, I was hunting a lot of food plots and private land to get the fundamentals of especially bow hunting under my belt by shooting a ton of does with my bow and really learning the basics. And from there I have progressed year after year. And my passion's only grown every year, especially, you know, when you find success in the outdoors. It's very addicting, and as I learned as much as I could from my family, what it came to from there was, you know, you can take to YouTube or podcasts nowadays, and there's so many guys that are very lethal hunters, to be honest with you, and they give as much strategy and detail as they can in a lot of this content. And that's where I feel like I've really excelled as well, is trying to soak up and learn as much as I can. So as I previously stated, a vast majority of my experience and where I really learned the fundamentals and grew my passion for the outdoors was in northern Minnesota. And if I had to explain to you the landscape up there, it would be a lot of small lakes, kind of scattered across the landscape, but also a ton of diversity, whether it be swamps or swale grass meadows and willows, to hardwood state forests and cedar swamps, or kind of anything in between. But in the food category, there was ag fields, but they were kind of few and far between. And that was a real change of pace for me when I moved out to North Dakota for school and a job when I was 20 years old. And for the 3 years I was out there, I really had to adapt to what I was put into out there, which is endless ag and not a lot of wood lots and far less public land. But at the same time, there are some great deer in North Dakota, and I can tell you I really enjoyed learning a new landscape and a new scenery. But then when I was 23, I actually took a job and moved to southern Minnesota, where I currently reside. And down here it's kind of a happy medium between woodlot and cover mixed with ag. And that's great, but the big catalyst or variable to this one would be the hills. What they call it is the bluff country. And it's just not what I was accustomed to. And last fall, really taking to the hills with my bow to try to harvest a deer in western Wisconsin, I had a lot of trial and error in learning thermals and how the deer use these hills to their advantages. And now I can tell you I really enjoy hunting the hills. And when I went over to Wisconsin last fall, because I'm only about 20 minutes into Minnesota, I went over to west central Wisconsin, and when I got there, you know, there's hardly any public land at all, and what I took to was knock on door for free permission, and I was very fortunate to get into a large piece of private land. And on October 13th last fall, I harvested my first mature deer on private land, which was a big, nice 9-pointer. Now, to wrap things up and get into the final portion of this intro, I just wanted to explain what you can expect on these social media platforms and what my intention is longevity with deer development. So first, if I had to explain this, I can tell you I have a growing passion, and I really want to, if I had to give you a 5 to 10 year plan, I want to become a land manager and habitat consultant tailored to private parcels and growing deer and really helping landowners achieve their desired outcome for their piece. But you know, that takes time, and I've been really working towards that goal in the past couple of years by getting involved with the QDMA and the National Deer Alliance, along with speaking to many current consultants and kind of getting my feet wet before I dive in. But also the background to that is I intend on bringing you along on my hunts, and through trial and error, hopefully teaching people as much as I can as I'm in the field. And then also my intention would be to do product breakdowns and go into the nitty-gritty details of how I personally believe I find success year in and year out. And I assure you that if I didn't believe in these methods to work, I would not be sharing them online. If you stuck around this long and listening to me ramble, I really appreciate the interest and look forward to producing some great content in the future. But for now, if you feel so compelled as to like and then subscribe to my channel, it would mean a lot in helping me developing deer development.